Good morning, everyone. As rector of the University of Granada, gives me the greatest pleasure to have been invited by the organizing committee of this 18th International Conference on Environmental, Cultural, Economic, and Social Sustainability to chair the introductory meeting this morning and offer you a few words of welcome to our university. But first, I am going to give the floor to Dr. Javier Villoria Prieto, Dean of the Educational Science Faculty of the University of Granada.
Dear Rector of the University of Granada, dear Vice Rector of Equity, Inclusion and Sustainability, dear scholars, researchers, participants, and colleagues, on behalf of the Faculty of Education and the organizing committee, driven by the research group from the University of Granada, Evaluation in Environmental, Social, and Institutional Education, together with the Network in Environmental Research, we welcome you all to the 18th International Congress on Environmental, Cultural, Economic, and Social Sustainability. We are very happy to host you in our institution, the Faculty of Education of the University of Granada, for the commitment we have with the values of the Sustainable Development Goals to protect the planet, and improve the lives and this of high quality scientific knowledge on the latest developments in environmental, cultural, economic, and social sustainability after the worst impact of the pandemic in terms of both research and practice. In these exceptional and hard times, sustainability is no longer an option. If we are to transform the future, if we are to change course in nature, the planet, and the people, we are not advancing at the speed required. The UN Secretary General 2 years ago called on all sectors of society to mobilize and to generate an unstoppable movement pushing for transformation. And we, the academia, are part of the leading body in which education and research can actively contribute to sustainable development. For instance, thinking in terms of the Faculty of Education, by integrating environmental education in all curricula, and by training teachers and teacher trainees in this field. I'm quite sure this scientific meeting will be a platform to showcase the most important transformations that have to be nurtured to build a more sustainable, inclusive, and peaceful future. You will generate debate around how to strengthen sustainability as a public endeavor and common good, how to steer the digital transformation and safeguard the planet. We all have a responsibility for ensuring sustainability. The 2030 Agenda is a universal and collective commitment which requires political will, global and regional collaboration, and the engagement of government, civil society, the private sector, and other multilateral agencies to tackle sustainability challenges. One of the pathways to achieve it is by an urgent climate change response. And again, education, as well as setting scientific-based targets and actions, thanks to scientific events such as the one we are opening today, is the right way. For that reason, we wish you all the luck in this promising event, because we need innovation, tools, and expertise to make this happen, as there is still time to get the world back on track. So thank you very much for all of you for being here.
Sorry, have you a problem? Okay, Okay. Thank you, Dr. Villoria. The next speaker will be Professor Margarita Sanchez Romero, Vice Rector for Equality, Inclusion, and Sustainability of the University of Granada.
Thank you very much. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to this international conference on environmental and social sustainability. As a Vice Rector for Equality, Inclusion, and Sustainability, it's really important to have the opportunity to explain what the University of Granada has been doing during this pandemic and continues doing from the perspective of health, level risk prevention, and in the promotion of physical activity, as we will do later on this morning. I find the subtitle of this conference particularly appropriate, post-pandemic sustainability towards the recovery of a green economy for nature, people, and the planet. And this is important because from the university we have been thinking how we can, from our institution, contribute to the sustainable development goals. As you know, United Nations try to set up a new paradigm that puts people at the center of development, regards economic growth as a means and not an end, protects the life opportunities of future generations as well as the present generation, and respects the natural system. During the last 2 years, we have been working in a document called Sustainable Human Development Strategies that you can find in the main page at the University of Granada. You can find it easily because it's the main need on this page. The main objective of this document is to serve as a guide and orientation in the design of future actions in the fields of sustainable human development from the university. We want to do that through tangible and measurable actions that allow the universities of Granada contribution to each of these sustainable development goals and their target to be quantified. This is very important for us. And I would like to highlight that these strategies have been created through a broad participatory process of the entire university community. And because we are aware of the importance of evaluation, it has a panel of quite a number of indicators in order to evaluate this contribution. We have been following the 4 spheres of the United Nations. People, we want a university with a human dimension, committed and socially responsible. Prosperity, we need a university of excellence and innovation. Planet, we want a university committed to the fight against climate change and peace and partnership. We want a citizens' university as a public good. We have included a 17+1 goal, which is diverse and inclusive culture and heritage, taking into account the own identity of this university with almost 500 years of history. Our commitment with this goal is to include culture and creativity as the 4th pillar of sustainable development, to promote the sustainable development in education and research throughout culture, to be a space to raise awareness among citizenship about the sustainable human development so that it becomes part of the culture and cultural identity. So, I hope you enjoy the conference and the university and the city. And I'm sure that through this conference we will be able to create alliances for this common goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sanchez. As a rector of the University of Granada, it's my privilege to be with you as president. Being among the 300 best universities in the world, according to the 2021 standard ranking, our university is a leading research growing comprehensive university founded on the initiative of Imperial Charles the Five by Pedro Wood in 1531. So we are soon to celebrate our 530. We are proud of our 500 years of history and of our substantial material and immaterial heritage. 5 centuries of existence that can only be successfully survived with one fundamental premise: always look to the future, adapt, prepare, and of course anticipate what is to come. That foresight is essentially what brings me here today. It is not just another of the many congress or forums we host welcome. It is special to us because the University of Granada is fully aware the sustainability is essential. For that reason, let me share that we want to hear the discussions and conclusions because I am sure we will be able to draw our own conclusions from them. The fact that a Congress such as takes place at the University of Granada and that it is the Faculty of Education Science that assumes the scientific leadership is unavoidable proof of the commitment of the institution and its teaching and research potential of true sustainability. It is both diversification and innovation, environmental, cultural, economic, political, social, and educational. This Congress brings together around 300 researchers from more than 20 different countries, both in person and virtually, which is an indispensable opportunity from scientific meeting, critique, debate, and exchange of relevant information. The 4 thematic blocks into which the 11 is structured provide the necessary multidisciplinary perspective. Complex ecological is and environmental problems, processes of citizen participation and environmental governance, cultural, economic, and social context, and political, institutional, and educational community. The program is ambitious and addresses a wide range of urgent and necessary issues, seeking a balance of interdisciplinary integration between blocks of content-related people, the economy, nature, politics, citizen participation, and education. We hope that this meeting will provide an awareness on the current state of research on different environmental and local and global issues affecting contemporary societies after the skills of pandemic. We are grateful to the Common Ground Research Awards led by the University of Illinois and the International Security Research Award for giving commission the University of Granada to organize this event. We are confident that, despite the circumstances, we will allow up to 10 events. We will contribute to the University of Granada, but those of you who have been able to travel to Granada from other parts of the world, and those of you who have opted to the virtual attendance of our free of Caravan South mission, which is increasingly common, is open science now. Thank you for being here at a time when it is not easy to read our research project. We really appreciate the confidence that you show will be present here in Granada, in Andalusia, and in Spain, at a time when June 4th are available. I also want to thank the local organizing committee, presided for the magnificent work they have done. I trust the results of the intellectual work something from this event will be as productive as possible for the advancement of research in the field of sustainability. And that knowledge of this can have a real impact on stable and sustainable human progress, thus contributing to the commitment to the SDGs of the 2030 Agenda and realistic achievement of the employment of our relations with the environment, human well-being, and the respected use of the planet's resources. Finally, it only remains for me to wish you a patient and a productive stay in Granada, a city that offers you a wonderful range of places to visit, from the inequality beauty of our two UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Via Banda and Via Baisini, to Granada's main other historical quarters and monuments, to the stunning and inviting natural landscape. I recommend you take the opportunity to visit some of them while you are here. I very much hope you find yourselves at home among us. It is my pleasure to formally declare this event open. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
So now we're going to keep on going with the opening session of this conference. My name is José Luis Ortega. I'm the scientific director of the Spanish side of Common Ground. And so we'll be sharing Spanish and English, because the presentation was in English, but glad to welcome all the participants in the Spanish community and all those that we have online today. Now it's my pleasure to introduce José Gutiérrez Pérez, who is the president of this conference. Y como decía, mi nombre es José Luis Ortega, soy el director científico de la parte en español de Common Ground, profesor titular aquí en esta universidad, en esta facultad en particular, y tengo ahora el placer de presentarle al profesor José Gutiérrez Pérez, que es el presidente del Congreso.
Gracias, José Luis. Buenos días. Agradeceros vuestra presencia aquí esta mañana, al comienzo de este evento. Daros las gracias a los que habéis venido de fuera, daros las gracias a los que venís aquí, daros las gracias a los que estáis lejos. Y este evento básicamente es una oportunidad de encuentro, de intercambio de avances científicos, de intercambio de experiencias, de intervención en la realidad, de modelos de cambio social y avance en un periodo histórico singular que nos ha tocado vivir, el que ni siquiera pensamos que podría ocurrir. Estamos en un periodo de la historia necesitado de horizontes y certidumbre. Y la mayor certidumbre para este periodo nos da la ciencia. La ciencia nos ha de permitir entender lo que ocurre e intervenir en esta realidad con instrumentos potentes que permitan tomar decisiones de cambio, decisiones reales que permitan ajustar en tiempo real lo que está ocurriendo. Eso lo hemos visto con bastante precisión en el ámbito científico, especialmente el ámbito médico, el ámbito sanitario, el ámbito científico biológico, pero el reto en este momento real es trasladar todo eso a la arena de las ciencias sociales. Las ciencias sociales en este momento tienen un importante reto que abordar relacionado con cómo dar respuesta a todo este tipo de acontecimientos que están ocurriendo en la realidad, en los que la educación, la economía, la industria, la tecnología se han visto zarandeados por algo que no estaba en nuestra manera de verlo. La razón esencial que hay detrás de todo ello es que somos seres vivos y somos seres ecodependientes. Esto es uno de los elementos esenciales del debate del Congreso que celebramos en Granada estos días. Nuestra esencia de dependencia nos lleva a olvidar en algunos momentos que no solo somos tecnología, que no solo somos elementos artificiales, sino que somos elementos de la naturaleza. Y esa fragilidad se ha puesto de manifiesto en estos 2 últimos años con más contundencia de la que éramos capaces de hacer. En este sentido, todas las ciencias sociales tienen mucho que aportar en esta etapa que se abre en este momento. Por nuestra parte, daros la bienvenida, agradecer a las personas que venís expresamente a estar aquí 3 días como ponentes desplazados de otros lugares, a los ponentes que estáis fuera y que también habéis dedicado vuestro trabajo, vuestro tiempo a aportar y a compartir ideas necesarias, a la gente que os habéis inscrito en el Congreso, a la organización, a toda la organización que da soporte, detrás de la cual hay muchas personas eficaces, y estamos a vuestra disposición y encantados de tener. Buenos días.
Thank you so much, Dr. José Gutiérrez, for this introduction. And now it is time for Dr. Philip Francisco. He's the head of the Common Ground, and he's going to do also the introduction and what we all to this conference. Muchísimas gracias, profesor José Gutiérrez, y ahora será el doctor Philip Francisco, que es el director de Common Ground Research Networks, y que nos dará también la bienvenida.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Do you think through the masks we can do a good morning? Good morning.
Good morning.
See, we still have some of the old tricks of social interaction. Well, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. I understand what a journey it is to travel right now. And so we do not take lightly the effort to be here, and it's a testament to the importance of the ideas and the conversations that we have to share. I also want to look at the camera and thank all of the online delegates who came here today as well, because that's a challenge too. We often think that the online is easier or in person. We kind of have these baked in expectations of what's easy and what's hard, and everything right now is a little bit of a challenge. So I would like to thank both of you who are in the room and those who are online. I'd like to thank everybody who has brought this conference together. It's a work of love. We have been working with the University of Granada now for nearly 20 years, and it's a great honor to continue this partnership. As a research network, there are kind of a few commitments that's important for us to stress. One is the commitment that you see right now, which is to be bilingual. Everything is a work in progress, as is life, but to make sure that we expand the tent and have as many people present in the native language is something that is really important to us, and to find the ways that we can communicate together is a critical part of expanding what we are trying to do. The other thing is that, we believe in a blended future. One of the things that we did last year is we became foundational signatories to the International Publishers Association's Publishers Contract, which is part of the Sustainability Development Goals, and we're thinking critically about what's a sustainable ecosystem for scholarly communication. And we think that the pandemic has kind of pushed us online and tarnished us. It has made us feel stressed about being online at the same time, but there's some real important principles about access, equity, and the future of the planet for why online participation is an important pathway going forward. We're also delegation at COP26 this year, so Portugal was participatory there, and we are thinking about what we are doing and our climate impacts. And so one of the things which is kind of superficial in a way, but baby steps there, is that we have removed all pre-bid programs. We are looking line by line at the things that we are doing. So we don't just research on sustainability. We think about the infrastructure that we have ourselves and what we can do. The other group of people that I want to recognise is our emerging scholars. Could I have the emerging scholars, the awardees, please stand up for 1 second? So every year we have an application process for these scholars. They are great young minds, and we put them in the front of the rooms to make sure that they get great visibility and they can help guide the conversations. So we're very happy with this year's award winners, and if we could give them a round of applause, that'd be. Conscious of the time, thank you. Conscious of the time, so I will hand over to our English language research network chair, David Humphrey.
Please, thank you.
Hello, good morning, and another very warm welcome to this year's Sustainability Conference, 18th International Conference on Environmental, Cultural, Economic and Social Sustainability. And a very warm welcome to everybody attending online. For those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, I'm David Humphreys. I'm the English Language Research Network Chair for Common Ground Sustainability Community. And I'd very like to start by warmly welcoming and thanking this year's partner institution, the Faculty of Education of the University of Granada, a leading university in Spain, the 4th largest in the country, change leaders in education. And it's quite fitting, really, that we're meeting here in Granada where there is a leading education faculty. Although we're all wearing masks today, that might hide our faces, but it doesn't mask what we stand for as a community in partnership with the Faculty of Education here at Granada. We're very much change leaders in 4 respects. And this conference is pushing forward 4 frontiers of change simultaneously. As Philip was saying, this is a blended learning conference. There's participants at home and at work, attending digitally, welcome again. And there's yourselves here today attending in person. And this is our first true blended conference. Because although last year's conference, which was hosted by the Amsterdam Sustainability Institute, which was going to be an in-place conference, it ended up being almost entirely digitally, hardly any in-place presence at all. This is our first truly blended event. As well as the same as we're working with 2 languages, that's the second frontier of change. Third, this is an interdisciplinary conference. Everybody is welcome, no matter what the scholarly background, from sciences, social sciences, arts and humanities. This conference speaks to all academic and scholarly disciplines. And finally, we aim to bring together policy with practice. This is not just a scholarly conference, this is a conference where we bring together change leaders. As we'll see with this morning's plenary speaker, Professor Daniela Tilbury, who will be introducing shortly, has worked both in scholarship and as a change leader in practice. So as we're running slightly out of time, I'd just like to say that, that the most pressing public welfare challenge we face as a global society is climate change. This is the defining era, the history of the 21st century. When it comes to be written, none of us will write it, but we can affect the history that will be written in the 21st century by the actions we take and those perhaps that we do not to deal with the problem of climate change. That will be how the history is narrated. of this century. Climate change sometimes always seems to be normalised into the way we all live our lives. But what we stand here with the sustainability conferences is for change. We have agents. There are structures and systems that constrain our actions, enable certain actions, work maybe prohibiting others. But alternatives are possible. Things can be different. We can use our research and our teaching and our lives as citizens to press for infrastructural change so that we hand on to future generations, those generations still to be born, a habitable planet. We can do that. We can choose to do that. So this conference is an important hybrid space. It can break down barriers of access and work through some of the solutions for the future. We have a broad global involvement with a range of concerned stakeholders. And we have some outstanding plenary speakers lined up here this week. We have from Spain, David Benares and Pablo Angel Meracatia. From Portugal, Marta Pereira Diaz. From Brazil, Michel Sato. From Mexico, Edgar Xavier Gonzalez Guadiana. From the Netherlands, last year's conference host, Philip Papberg. And then this morning's plenary speaker from Gibraltar, Professor Daniela Tilbury. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our first plenary speaker. Professor Tilbury is an internationally acclaimed academic leader and change maker in the theory and practice of sustainable development. Before she became Gibraltar's Commissioner for Sustainable Development of Future Generations, she was the inaugural President and Chief Executive Officer of the University of Gibraltar, an institution that has sustainability at the core of its work. She has been the UK government's representative to the United Nations Economic Commission of Europe on matters related to education and sustainable development. She's chaired several UN committees and has been commissioned to develop expert reviews, policy advice and sector evaluation. So Daniela, a very warm welcome to the 18th International Conference on Sustainability. Thank you so much for making the time to deliver this morning's plenary address. You're very welcome.